Good evening. When I was asked if I would be willing to speak in front of an assembly of people by Professor Johnson about life experiences and lessons, the first thing I questioned was, well, how many people are expected to be there? She then replied, well, we're not sure. It could be anywhere between 3 to 137. My next question was, well, how did you come up with that oddly specific range? She then replied with a comical smirk saying, well, the number 3 comes from the fact that 3 staff members are going to be there and they're being paid to be there, and the fire marshal will not allow us to have any more than 137 people in the building. According to worldbank.org, the source that the search engine Google uses, the average lifespan in the United States is 77.43 years. It's important to note this statistic for later. It'll be important in a few moments. To give some background about myself, I come from a small town in eastern North Carolina called Verona. It's a small, unincorporated area just a few miles south of Jacksonville, which for reference is about 15 minutes from the beach. One of my favorite things to do when I was a teenager was to get a handful of friends and go fishing on my grandfather's boat. Now, I have been on this boat many times, and there was only a little John boat with just a small motor. Nothing crazy. We would go to a nearby boat ramp that my Uncle Alan would drive us to. None of us were old enough to drive. On a light rainy day, we were out on the water with a couple of friends. And to save time on describing a lengthy chain of events, one thing led to another, and we hit an old rusted buoy which damaged the side of the boat. So I made a decision. My 13-year-old self decided I was going to try and cover up the damages and not tell him. Looking back, that probably wasn't my wisest decision or my brightest moment. So my uncle picked us up, not noticing the damages since he typically would just back up to the ramp and we would load the boat up and he would never get out of the truck. I went into the garage and found all my grandfather's paint supplies, and looking back, I did the most unexperienced paint job on this boat. My grandfather got home, and close to the end of dinner he asked me, how was fishing today? I casually just said, it was good. Fish really weren't biting though. He then asked me, anything special happen out there? How did the boat do on the water? I just kept it short and said, boat did good, nothing crazy. He said, well, that's good. He didn't say anything for the rest of the night. He just did his normal routine, got a shower, watched TV with my grandma, and went to bed. On the second night after the accident, he looks at me and says, you know, I would never lie to you, Matthew. And I just replied, yes, sir. He stated, now, would you ever lie to me? I couldn't look him in the eye or reply. I was filled with guilt, and I was catching on that he knew what had happened. He says to me, Matthew, is there something you want to tell me that you haven't yet? After a long pause, I said, yes, sir. We wrecked the boat the other day. I then started from the beginning and told him everything from beginning to end, to include all the details about me trying to cover it up and not say anything because of my fear of him being mad with me. He looked at me and said, son, I'm not mad at you. Accidents happen, but I am disappointed in you. Which to me at that point in life was far worse than him just being mad at me. He proceeds to explain his disappointment and taught me a powerful lesson. Now, I can't quote him word for word because a lot was said, but out of that hour-long conversation, I took away 2 main lessons. 1, no matter what you do in life, you are going to make mistakes. You cannot know it all, and you cannot put life on rewind and go back and redo. You are forced to face your mistakes and own them and learn for the future. 2, lying will consume you and cause people to not trust your integrity. Tell the truth, good or bad, and even if people are mad, angry, or even disappointed at you, the one thing they can't say is, you're a liar. Remember that statistic I mentioned earlier at the beginning? We are only on average here on Earth for 77.43 years. Our time is limited. Things will happen that may be unfair, and you will make mistakes. But like my grandfather taught me, there is no rewind button. You must move forward, and that is the only option. You must move forward until the time comes for you to leave this world. But despite death being the eventual result for all of us, your legacy remains. And you can at least know that if you follow this simple lesson that my little 13-year-old self learned, your legacy will include integrity and honesty. Your legacy could leave an impact on the next generation. Thank you.